Dear students, today we will discuss multi-agency approaches and different schemes in agriculture finance. First of all, we will discuss crop loan system. Even though All India Rural Credit Survey Committee under the chairmanship of Sri Gorwala during 1954 and V.L. Mehra Committee on Cooperative Credit in 1960 recommended the adoption of crop loan system in all states. It was not implemented due to several reasons. After a lapse of 5 years, that is in the year 1965, it was introduced throughout the country. What are the objectives of crop loan system? The twin objective of crop loan system are treating the crop as security instead of immovable property like land, fixing the scale of finance depending upon the actual farm expenditure that is based on cost of cultivation. What are the silent features of crop loan system? The credit requirements of farmers are to be estimated based on the cost of cultivation of the crops cultivated by them. The eligibility to receive the loan by the farmers is not measured by the ownership of land but by the fact that he is a real farmer who needs credit for cultivation. The crop loan should be advanced on the hypothecation of the crop. The disbursement and recovery of the loans are to be made in accordance with the crop production schedule. The loans should include both cash and kind components. The quantum of loan should be fixed according to the variety, the region in which it is grown and type of crops, that is whether it is irrigated or rain-fed crop. And crop loan is fixed by district level technical committee consisting of experts from the field of agriculture, animal husbandry, banking, etc. What are the multi-agency approach to agriculture and rural banking? Another important feature of the credit policy since independence is the multi-agency approach. In India, as a strategy, multi-agency approach has been adopted following the recommendation of All India Rural Credit Survey Committee in 1969, allowing space for various kinds of agency offering banking service as only cooperative banks could not meet the requirements of rural credit. These includes commercial banks, cooperative banks, regional rural banks, and agriculture and rural development banks. Microfinance institutions have also joined this group of agencies more recently for supporting rural population. NABARD is a refinancing in a big way the banks for different agriculture development projects like lift irrigation scheme, etc. The success of agriculture production programs depend upon the supply of credit under the strategy of multi-agency adopted by the government. The above named credit institutions are providing credit to cultivators in general and weaker sections in particular. Because of this, the activities of the money lenders and their exploitation, particularly of the weaker sections in the rural areas, has been drastically reduced in recent years. In multi-agency approach, first off we will discuss lead bank scheme. The genesis of lead bank scheme can be traced to the study group appointed by National Credit Council, headed by Professor D.R. Gadgil, on the organizational framework for the implementation of the social objectives, which submitted its report in October 1969. The study group drew attention to the fact that commercial banks did not have adequate presence in rural areas and also lacked the required rural orientation. As a result, the banking needs of the rural areas in general and the backward regions in particular could not be adequately taken care of by the commercial banks, and the credit needs of rural sector of the economy, particularly agriculture, small-scale industries and service sectors, remained virtually neglected. The study group therefore recommended the adoption of an area approach to evolve plans and programs for the development of an adequate banking and credit structure in rural areas. In the same year, 1969, RBI appointed Sri FKF Nariman Committee to examine recommendation of Professor Gadgil's study group, Committee of Bankers, on branch expansion programs of public sector banks appointed by Reserve Bank of India endorsed the idea of area approach in its report in November 1969. It recommended that in order to enable the public sector banks to discharge their social responsibilities, each bank should concentrate on certain districts where it should act as a lead bank. Pursuant to the above recommendation, the lead bank scheme was introduced by RBI in December 1969. The scheme emphasized making specific banks in each district by key instruments of local development by entrusting them with the responsibilities of locating growth centers, assessing deposit potentials, identifying credit gaps, and evolving a coordinated approach to credit deployment in each district in concert with other banks and credit agencies. The scheme significantly did not envisage a monopoly of banking business by the lead bank in the district. The lead bank is expected to assume leadership role and act as a consortium leader for coordinating the efforts of the credit institutions, and accordingly the various districts in the country were allocated among the public or selected private sector banks as the lead bank for the district. What are the objectives of lead bank? The main objectives of lead bank: eradication of unemployment, an appreciable rise in the standard of living of the poorest of the poor, provision of some of the basic needs of the people who belong to poor sections of the society, to act as a consortium leader to coordinate the efforts of banks in the district, particularly in matters like branch expansion and credit planning. What are the roles of and functions of lead bank? The functions of lead bank can be built under two important phases. In first phase, survey of the lead district, the RBI has mentioned the following functions of lead bank under phase first. First of all, bringing about overall improvements in branch expansion, mobilization of deposits and lending to the priority sectors, especially in rural or semi-urban areas. Surveying the potential areas for banking in the district, identifying the business establishments which are so far dependent on non-institutional agencies for credit and financing them so as to raise their income, examining the available marketing facilities for agricultural and industrial products and linking credit with marketing, invoking cooperation among different banks in opening new bank branches, estimating the credit gap in various sectors of district economy, developing contact and maintaining liaisons with the government and other agencies. In second phase, preparation of credit plans. In phase second, RBI emphasized that the lead bank should formulate the bankable loaning schemes involving intensive use of labor so as to generate additional employment, disburse loans to increase the productivity of land in agriculture and allied activities so as to increase the income level, give maximum credit to weaker sections of the society mainly for productive purposes, assistance under government sponsored schemes, grant of educational loans, progress under self-help group, bank linkage, timely submission of data by banks, review of relief measures in case of natural calamities wherever applicable. Therefore, lead bank scheme expects the banker to become an important participant in the development process in the area of its operation in rural areas, and the service area approach put the bankers in the position of implementing the development plans. The lead bank scheme has largely achieved its original objectives of bringing about overall improvement in branch expansion, mobilization of deposits and lending to the priority sector, especially in rural or semi-urban areas. The lead bank scheme has been able to mold itself to meet the emerging needs as pursued by the concerned state governments and the banks in each state, being the only form where the top officials of banks are governed and government meets at the state or district level to discuss issue of mutual interest. The utility of state land development bank or district cooperative banks as a form of communication and coordination has been its biggest achievement. based on the response to a questionnaire circulated by the committee and discussions held with state governments, banks, academics, NGOs, and other banks holders, the committee concluded that the scheme is useful and need to continue. In next lecture, we will discuss about service area approach to rural lending and other multi-agencies approach for rural lending. Thank you.